Time Lena Carter read the letter, she thought the gold seal had to be a prank. The third time, her hand still shook. Northeastern Institute of Aeronautics, admitted. She slid the letter back into a planner crowded with sticky notes and tucked her student pilot log beside it like a lucky charm. 52 hours in small planes, 52 hours of wind learning her name. Log in the bag, her father called up the stairs. Front pocket, she said, jogging down. Asher Cole met her at the door with that look, half pride, half, don't forget you're extraordinary. He'd built Skylance dynamics from code in a basement to software that guided airplanes through bad weather and worse decisions. Airlines bought what he made because it worked. Pilots trusted it because it never blinked. You're flying solo this time, he said, ruffling her hair. And no, I won't stand in the terminal like a bodyguard. I will, however, walk you to the gate like an embarrassing dad. Lena laughed. Deal. The city was still rinsing itself awake when their car slid to Terminal C. Staff noticed Asher, as people do when gravity walks into a room in a suit. But Lena felt the glances stick to her more than him, curious, measuring the way strangers sometimes decide your story before you speak a word. She kept her chin level and her breath steady. Her mother's old mantra floated up. Don't shrink. Make the room learn your size. Security split into 2 speeds. A man with a rolling briefcase breezed through with a joke about golf. When Lena stepped forward, the agent's smile thinned by a shade. Priority? Yes? He checked her ID, held it a blink too long and waved her through. The scanner stayed silent. Another officer stepped in anyway with a well-practiced tone. Additional screening. Sure, she said, neutral as glass. Swab, shoes, the whole ritual. Her phone buzzed while she laced up again. Head high, kiddo. Read Asher's text. I'll be 10 feet behind you and a mile ahead if needed. At gate 29A, the agent scanned her pass and then studied her face as though 2 photographs didn't match. First, to Boston? That's me. Enjoy your flight, Miss Carter, the woman said, returning the pass in a smile that didn't quite reach the eyes. Lena eased into first class and slid the logbook into the seat pocket. She opened her campus visit schedule, materials lab at 10, composites studio at 1, then imagined her future in it. Women who built wings, not excuses. Excuse me, said a man in a perfect suit, pausing by her row. Economy is behind us. So it is, Lena said, keeping her tone steady. My seat is 2A. A flight attendant with a pin that read Miriam approached, checked the manifest, and nodded. The man moved on, shaking his head as if gravity had suddenly become optional. Lena texted her dad. First-class police tried it. He replied instantly. Their ceiling's not yours. The cabin filled. Her neighboring seat stayed empty. The intercom chimed. The captain's voice rolled out smooth. Final checks. A few minutes. Later, Miriam returned, and the smile that had steadied Lena before was gone. The captain would like a quick word with you up front, she said softly. The galley smelled like coffee and metal. The captain's cap shaded his brow like a small eclipse. He didn't bother with warm-up lines. You're traveling alone. I am. I'm told you're a student pilot. I am. She offered a small smile. 52 hours and a lot of boring landings. His eyes flicked to the logbook she held. He didn't take it. And you mentioned corporate connections. My dad's company supplies navigation software to several carriers, she said. We're also corporate clients of this one. Passengers who talk flying sometimes angle for extra access, he said. We're mindful of cockpit security. I didn't ask for access, Lena said. I asked for hydration and a window. Identification. She handed over her ID and the logbook she'd inked with careful dates and signatures. He took the ID, skimmed the log like it was a menu he'd already memorized, and returned both. Here's the situation, he said. I'm responsible for everyone on this aircraft. Something about this doesn't sit right. We'll have the gate rebook you. Something? Her throat went dry. What exactly isn't sitting right? Protocol, he said, letting the word do all the work. Miriam's jaw tightened. The first officer glanced over, looked like he was about to say something, chose silence instead. Lena felt heat crawl up her neck, anger, not shame. Being turned into a question mark in public takes a special kind of humiliation. She could feel phones tilting toward them, the lazy curiosity of a terminal that wants a story. They walked the jetway in a tunnel of recycled air and the soft squeal of rubber soles. Back at the gate, the agent clicked keys, printed a new itinerary, pushed it across the counter with a brochure about rights that sounded brave on paper and invisible in practice. Lena sat on a row of blue seats and texted one word: removed. Asher replied in less than 5 seconds. Stay visible. I'm here. He arrived with a stride that said, meeting over. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. Who made the decision? He asked the counter staff. I want a supervisor now. A woman in a blazer arrived with an apology already forming. Sir, I understand. Do you? Asher asked, calm as the center of a storm. Your captain dismissed a paying passenger with valid ID and a documented training log. He didn't cite a regulation. He cited his feelings. We can rebook her without penalty, the supervisor said. We're well past penalties, Asher replied. We're at consequences. Call your operations chief. Then call your CEO. Security drifted closer, not quite engaged, like sharks that haven't decided if the boat is food. Phones rose. The circle widened. In that gray zone between customer service and confrontation, narratives calcify. A young pilot in a crisp uniform approached, voice low enough to be kind. Mr. Cole, I'm Ethan Ruiz, first officer on that flight. He glanced at the supervisor, then back to Asher. I shouldn't say this here, but this isn't the first time Captain Drake has followed his gut with certain passengers. The supervisor stiffened. Officer Ruiz. Ethan swallowed. Someone has to say it. Asher didn't blink. Thank you. He turned to the supervisor. Name, badge, and the number for your headquarters. She recited them, then asked, faltering, Sir, what are you planning to do? Exactly what your captain did, he said, pulling out his phone. Follow my gut. Lena watched his thumb hover over a contact that could change the weather inside a corporation. She didn't want revenge. She wanted a landing, an explanation that didn't bend the truth into legalese. Asher placed the call. Brian, he said when the line connected. It's Asher Cole, we have a problem. And for the first time since she watched the gold seal glint, Lena felt something stronger than anger. She felt momentum, like the roll before rotation, that moment when the ground is still yours but the sky